the Conqueror going to be this villain?
How do you spell that city, Darren?
How do you spell it? How do you spell that
How do you
city?
spell it?
Google tells me how you spell that one.
Hey, Google, how do you spell it?
Yeah, he spelled Chronopolis. Good day, and welcome back to another exciting episode of CBR Saga. As per usual, I'm your host, Darren Warts, joined on the line yet again, one of which is making faces that no one can see because it's a podcast. The gentlemen themselves, Curtis Nash, Josh Gruber. How's it going, boys?
Hey, buddy.
Salutations.
I'm pretty excited about today's topic. This one kind of came up due to a throwaway line that our Lord and Savior Josh Gruber threw away the other day from the supple lips of the man himself. What if the next big bad isn't going to be Kang the Conqueror? All we are seeing since Loki, and even really before, I mean, since they cast the guy from Lovecraft Country, everybody's known that he's going to be playing Kang the Conqueror. So everyone's like, oh, well, obviously that's going to be the next big bad. That's going to be the thing that we spend another 10 years building towards, and then, you know, it all culminates into a couple of movies. But we're here to talk about the fact that we don't think that's the case. I think that Kang the Conqueror is more going to be an interim villain that takes up a movie, maybe two. We all know he's going to be pretty prevalent in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And there's even a scene in the last Ant-Man when they're in the quantum realm where you actually see Kang's city in a little bubble. His little bubble city is actually an Easter egg in the back corner that you can see at Chronopolis. Is just sitting there. So it's all the Mephisto is here type videos are adding up to Kang the Conqueror going to be this villain.
How do you spell that city, Darren?
How do you spell it? How do you spell that
How do you
city?
spell it?
Google tells me how you spell that one.
Hey, Google, how do you spell it?
Yeah, he spelled Chronopolis. Google.
L-E. The proper spelling of Acropolis is...
But, okay, so pretty sure that his story is going to come to a head in Ant-Man and the Wasp, because that's 2023. Multiverse of Madness is probably going to have a Kang presence, but I think it's going to be wrapped up by the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. What do you guys think? Curtis, we'll start with you.
I'm pretty sure Kang is just used as a stepping stone at this point, because when has Marvel ever said what they're going to do right at the beginning and let it be known? It's always going to be a surprise. The chances of him being the big bad in Phase 4, I think, are about 20%. I don't think he's going to be the one to fight.
Right.
If he is, I think he's going to play a hand in all the movies. He's going to be like the bad guy / good guy, depending which variant you're talking about, Samuel L. Jackson for the next, 5 or 6 years. That's what I think.
Yep.
But as for bad guy, no.
He's going to be more as, the stepping stones to set up the greater MCU that they're planning on, kind of fleshing out, is what you're saying.
Do you know what I want to see? They've done the big bad. They're not going to do the same thing, I don't think. I think they're going to have multiple bad guys maybe teaming up and stuff like it. Because we haven't seen that. Really?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Have we?
No, not like a super villain team. We haven't.
I
seen.
do make lots of good points.
Well, let's not
For all
go
you
crazy here. Let's
don't
move on
know.
to Josh before Curtis's ego fills up the room.
Yeah, like I said at the end of the one podcast there, that I think it's he's up and coming for, like you said, this multiverse of madness. A lot of time travel. You have to have him as the bad guy. But as the overall bad guy, that's, like another Thanos, no, I don't think so. Especially when you have the introduction of Fantastic Four and the X-Men coming into the MCU. You need something bigger. You need something more aggressive, more of a threat. And Kang in himself, yeah, is a threat, but what about for Fantastic Four, Galactus, or Doctor Doom? Doctor Doom can tie in both Fantastic Four and X-Men very easily. So I think that there's just bigger, more impressive bad guys out there, especially since we have Kang set up for all of this time travel stuff, and we know all this time travel stuff is coming out. It's slated for right away, right? So we'll have Kang, but I think overall he's not going to be our big baddie.
And it's a good point that you brought up Fantastic Four, because that's we know the next couple of phases are mainly going to exist, set up Fantastic Four to give us the X-Men and kind of bring them into the where have they been this last 10 years and existing kind of thing. And a way that you can do that is with Kang, and according to Google, like you guys have been ripping me, he's a descendant of Reed Richards, right? So that's a way that you can tie those bloodlines, or you can bring it in a way that it would make sense to be here's Fantastic Four, now there's multiverse multiverses, which we're merging together, and maybe in our MCU universe there is no Fantastic Four, but in another one that Kang goes to, there might be. And in this multiversal war that they're probably setting up through Multiverse of Madness and Quantum Mania, they'll either like merge it into a 616 style type thing where just everybody's existing in this MCU, or they'll just keep the multiverses so they can do like what DC's doing and have worlds of DC. Here's a Joker movie, here's a this movie, and not everything needs to be connected. Because that's kind of what Marvel exists in, is everything has to be connected to something else. Every movie has a reference, and every TV show references that movie. Do you want to see a move more away from that, and with the multiverse kind of open up more original, kind of not tied into a greater universe storytelling?
I want it to be a little of both. I want it to be everybody doing their own kind of thing, but I want to be the culmination of the next 2 or 3 phases to be, well, now we all need to fight together. I want to see the gigantic group of good guys versus the gigantic group of bad guys like they already did. But could you imagine like Doctor Doom, Magneto, and all those guys teaming up to fight like Avengers, whatever they look like then, Fantastic Four, X-Men?
Yeah.
That's just as good as on your left.
Yeah.
Avengers Assemble. Like, come on.
I still want Avengers versus X-Men. I think that's a brilliant way to bring them into the movie universe. Start them off as the villains, then they come together, Batman versus Superman style, against a greater threat.
It's the next Civil War.
Absolutely. And when you have stuff like we're getting a TV show of Secret Invasion, like they're taking all of these big Avengers storylines and kind of setting them up through threads through TV and everything. Josh, you got any other points on that you want to make?
To me, it has to be careful. Marvel's always prided themselves on, having everything connected. And then when you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that kind of fall out of the MCU, like, remember the backlash? Like, what's going on? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
How dare you? So to have like a multiverse where not everything's tied in, I don't know if that's going to be everybody's jam, especially when DC very early on announced that's what we plan on doing, and everybody was like, DC sucks. Oh, that's so stupid. Now Marvel's taking a page out of like Warner Brothers, out DC playbook. Like, I don't know if that'll happen, but
I mean, just for anybody who loves that everything is connected, just remember the Inhumans technically still live on the moon. If that terrible TV show and everything being connected is any kind of indicator. Kind of what I want to see, like, so we're kind of all in agreement, like the big bads we don't think are going to be as popular in the phases going forward. I hope it's more team up movies, like Thor Ragnarok, where it's you get a couple characters teaming up and they get a movie together, but it's not this huge universal crossover. I love seeing Thor and Hulk, and obviously with Multiverse of Madness we're getting Scarlet Witch and we're getting Doctor Strange, and Loki's going to be in it by reports. Is that where you think they're going to be shifting to, is more the team up quote buddy cop stories instead of doing these huge lead up and do every movie teases a bit more of this big bad style thing? Because I think, like you said, we've done that, we've been there. It's only going to get tired going forward.
Well, I think they have to. I think they. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Canadians.
I said I think they pretty much already are, because you got Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange together. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I guess, kind of already go together. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch and Vision, Hawkeye and his daughter there, or his protege, I can't remember her name.
Kate Bishop.
Hawkeye and his kid.
Here come the comments. Oh my God, I said the wrong thing.
Kate Bishop.
This guy's got no knowledge.
The Marvels just started filming, and that's 3 of them all together in a movie. So I think they're already doing it. The writing's on the wall, pretty much.
Josh, you wanted to say something too before Curtis rudely cut you off?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, one more thing.
No.
Yeah, right.
You brought up a good point though when you said about like bringing Scarlet Witch into the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, as far as body counts go, she's got the biggest tally of all of the Avengers quote villains. Do you think that maybe they're setting up where Scarlet Witch might become a threat or someone they need to fight against? Or do you think WandaVision kind of already did that and now they're moving past it? Because I think that Scarlet Witch moving from good girl to bad girl, that sounds wrong. Moving from good hero to villain.
Say naughty.
Yeah. would kind of be an interesting switch. I know everyone hated it, but like when Daenerys went bad in Game of Thrones, I loved it.
The one person who liked it.
The one guy on the internet. So do you think that's something they might do? Speaking of who we think big bads could be other than Kang, do you think Scarlet Witch at all is going to be in that realm, or is she going to be good guy by the end of Multiverse of Madness?
I don't think she'll be a big bad guy. I think it's tough because you look at House of M, like after House of M, like they kind of take care of her. Like she's completely broken and nutty. Something has to happen like that, I think, at the end of this movie where maybe, Olsen's not, I don't know how many movies she is tied into.
True.
So, like, if she's coming near the end of her contract, maybe this is where they just kind of shelf Scarlet Witch for a while, like after this movie, because you know what, she is, you know, while she looks a little evil, like, I mean, it can be however you look at it, right? But if she's, you know, taking multiverses and, you know, doing with that whatever, and Doctor Strange has to stop her, like, ultimately she's the bad guy in the movie then. So yeah, like, I can't see maybe her character going forward after this for a little bit. Maybe they just kind of shelf her.
She's gotten a good arc coming, because Civil War, she started getting more and more developed, and everything that came out after that, you'd learn a little more and you get more interested. So that's would be a nice kind of how we got like a 3-story arc on Hulk through Thor Ragnarok and the Infinity Saga. You could do that with Scarlet Witch too. Curtis, your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely you could.
Good thoughts.
Yes. Her character's a little wishy-washy though.
Wishy-washy.
So like the whole going bad, wishy-washy. The whole going bad thing. Like it seems like she's like in Civil War, she's timid, then she's, well, you can't tell me what to do. Then she's back to being timid again in WandaVision. Then she gets her strength again. So she kind of goes up and down and fluctuates. So I think her turning bad will depend on somebody. The only way she's going to turn bad is she's gullible and somebody's going to whisper in her ear something, and then she's going to follow along with it.
I think with at the end of WandaVision there too, where we see her kind of going through the different multiverses and you hear her, she hears her kids. That'd be just another reason to kind of shelf the character as a whole, because if they introduce her sons, you kind of have that witch element in Wiccan, right? So
yeah, and I mean they're clearly setting up young Avengers, and are going to let these people that have been with the franchise retire after 10 or 15 years of making movies with Marvel. So it would make sense that Scarlet Witch goes away, Wiccan comes in as the new witch of the MCU, quote, and then you move forward with movies with them. So we have who we think instead of Kang it's going to be for villains. We won't say them yet. What I want to do is I want to start out with who we'd like to see, not who we think the new threat to the Avengers is going to be in the movies, but who we just want to, as like comic fans and animation fans, we want to see in the movies get developed. I'll go first, and then we'll go to Curtis, and then we'll go to Josh. Just because I'm watching the show on Disney Plus right now, I want MODOK.
Oh, Jesus.
This big stupid head with a vision laser in his forehead and a dumb chair. Just, it doesn't make any sense. Like the Avengers movie are somewhat grounded in like reality, quote, not as much as like the Nolan verse and Batman is, but it would just be such this stark contrast of like a stupid looking villain to have MODOK, a live action MODOK. What do you think the odds are that we could see MODOK, Josh?
0.
Boo.
0 is right. That's never gonna happen.
Come on.
That's like saying Howard the Duck's gonna be the next big bad.
You know, well, he was in a couple of them. You don't think
for 5 seconds?
You don't think they're making these cartoons and the animated MODOK to kind of warm us up to the idea of maybe this character popping up at some point?
No. 100% no. Hate to burst
I'm just
your
going to
bubble.
pout for the rest of this episode. How rude. MODOK is great. Same with Mojo. I want the Mojo verse.
Oh,
when X-Men
God,
come out.
Mojo.
Okay, Curtis, who would you like to see as an Avenger level threat?
There's only one answer for me. It has to be ultimate version of Green Goblin, like monster version.
Ooh.
Not glider version. I need monster version of Norman Osborn. That's like one of the best villains I think Marvel's ever had.
Well, and the fact that we've had how many Spider-Man movies, he's tied into the universe, like have we even, other than like I think a writing on a building, seen like Oscorp or something like that? We haven't gotten a Norman Osborn, which is kind of strange when you think about it.
Like Spider-Verse, so like the animated one, we had like Big Green Goblin.
Totally.
Yeah, that big Green Goblin. That's the one I want. I want live action though.
Yeah.
That character is intimidating in human form and in Green Goblin form.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad about that. I think we need more Oscorp just to kind of like tie things together. You need the Baxter Building, you need Stark Tower, you need Oscorp, you need all them billionaires mucking things up for everybody else in the world. Josh, who would you like to see as a villain coming up as like an Avengers level threat?
Ooh, I think a sweet, like tasty introduction to Galactus would be Silver Surfer.
Ooh.
Like let's see a redone Silver Surfer come in and just, make trouble for Earth.
Hang on.
for everybody.
We already got the greatest representation of Silver Surfer on the silver screen, though, so I don't understand why we would just recycle an already arguably flawless storytelling of that arc.
Oh, great movies those were. No, like you said, for people that, or for villains that you'd like to see, like that would be obviously on like everybody's list, I think. Who didn't grow up loving Silver Surfer, didn't have like a Marvel card of Silver Surfer. You never collected the cards, but like you just had one card, Silver Surfer. Yeah. So he was the coolest, but you know, he does start out as a villain, so you know, who knows?
Well, and
that'd be kind of cool.
Like you said, it's a good way to introduce it, because I agree now, like kind of switching gears into the who we think it's going to be. And we've already said their names twice on here. I mean, it's a 50-50 draw between whether or not it's going to be Doctor Doom or whether or not it's going to be Galactus at some point, especially when you're bringing in Fantastic Four. You have plans for X-Men in the horizon. You're developing all of these stories. To not go that route for one or both of them just wouldn't make any sense. And like I see a lot of nodding. You guys agree with that and kind of think that's the route we're going?
I do honestly think that with the Eternals, we're going to find out more information about the Celestials, and we probably will find out there's going to be a twist, something to do with them, because I'm pretty sure that's who the bad guys always were. The Eternals always fought the Celestials type deal. So we're gonna get a big revelation in that movie, I feel. And you could always make Galactus into like a Celestial, something like that. So
that's a good point.
No, I want purple helmet, purple gloves, because they're gonna. The test audience is gonna love that.
So good.
Be like, what the is this thing?
But are they going to be confused though? Because you look at, like, we had Frog Thor and Loki. Like, they're starting to open up the weirdness of what kind of stuff is out there. So I don't think not getting big purple Galactus is out of the realm of possibility.
That's what I mean. But I think that's the only way you can do it. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I say that there's still, I'd say 60 to 70% of the Marvel audience knows nothing about Marvel comics.
Yeah.
And to try to pull one over and be like, what does this guy do? He's walking around in a big helmet and he just sucks up planets. You know, like that might be a little bit hard to swallow. But hey, they've done it before, right?
Yeah, fair.
They introduced the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're swinging at the fence with the Shang-Chi and the Eternals. So
I think that they're opening us up to the weird.
In Feige, we trust.
Absolutely,
in Feige
we trust. Do you think that it's more a chance that we're going to see Galactus, or more a chance we're going to see Doctor Doom first?
I still say I think it's going to be Doctor Doom first. Like I said, I don't think I still think that's like 3 or 4 years off.
I agree.
But like 100%. Like they need like internal threat, like not a cosmic threat again right away. You know what I mean?
Something planet-wide.
That can lead like to a cosmic threat, but you got to have like the little tasters. You got to have the Ultrons and stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Doctor Doom, man, he's a string puller.
Yeah.
That's what makes him such a threat, you know? He is a string puller. There's more than meets the eye than just him. There's always some plan A, plan B, plan C that he's got in the back of his mind. So he's perfect, I think.
Josh, any other points?
I concur with Kurt.
Oh, good. We all are in concurrent then.
And who should play Doctor Doom?
Pedro Pascal. Another one. But that's a good, let's end on that. If you had to do, Galactus could clearly just be a voiced role, so you wouldn't like as much need to do, because he's probably be heavily CG. Who would you like to see if cast in either of those roles? Obviously, Pedro Pascal can and will play both roles, but if we had to choose, who do we think it could be?
Some suave guy. I can't think of any suave guys right now.
You need like a booming, deep voice for Galactus. You'd absolutely need. I would prefer you go with more, instead of a celebrity, you go with more like a voice actor, somebody who's like, or like a Keith David. Something like that would be like an excellent Galactus, just like deep and menacing.
Juno, I want to see his Doctor Doom, just so he can get his big screw you to Warner Brothers, is Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah.
Give me Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom. Oh! That would be sweet.
I believe I saw a story on the CBR saying that he was in talks with Marvel, so you never know. Maybe they're planning on tossing him in somewhere.
He'd be a good Norman Osborn, I think, too.
Can Norman Osborn be that attractive? Don't you want a little bit of that William Dafoe rough around the edges to make him more menacing?
No.
No.
Well, okay. I think so. Yeah. I mean, coming into this, and like you said, we've seen so many stories saying it's Doctor Doom or it's Galactus. Kang is maybe going to last 2 more movies. and maybe pop into shows and everything, kind of weaving that thread of setting up the bigger overarching nemesis. And that's what we think is going to be happening with the future phases of Marvel. But obviously, you have your comments, which I'm sure you've already chicken-pecked away while we've been talking, telling us how wrong we are about specific points. And keep them going. Keep the comments going. Let us know. Who do you think the new big bads are going to be? Is it going to be Kang? Do you think it's going to be Galactus? Or do you think it's going to be someone else that maybe we haven't mentioned? Or MODOK. Because I'm pretty sure
Mojo and MODOK are going to team up to take over the MCU.
they're going to team. Oh my God. Could you imagine
both float.
the most powerful duo?
They both get defeated by pulling out their anti-gravity generators. Foiled again.
Unplug them and plug them back in again. Oh no. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you want to find us on social media, I am everywhere at Darren_FM. Curtis, where can the good people of the internet find you?
At Nashty5000, because 4,099 and below are all taken.
Yeah, Twitter, I'm at Gruberschwa.
All right, well, as per usual, it's always a pleasure to sit here and talk comic books with you guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Darren.
It's your pleasure.
Savage.